because we are making something that is so easy but that everybody loves. So I love Nutella, but I also try at home to use natural products. I try not to eat processed food. So we're making today chocolate hazelnut cookies that are kind of inspired by Nutella, but are actually so much better. And they're the kind of like crumbly cookie that I really love, that are dense and just delicious. So we're gonna start by using a blender. This is kind of an important step. If you have a blender that heats up a lot, you're gonna wanna do this in batches. But we're gonna take a cup of just fresh hazelnuts here, and then half a cup of semi-sweet chocolate. You wanna get good chocolate here because otherwise, you know, there's not a lot of ingredients. So I always say, like, start with a good chocolate and you'll be good to go from there. So then we're just gonna blend this. Again, being careful not to go too long because you don't wanna heat up the chocolate. So first we're gonna turn on the blender. And you may wanna just shake it up a little bit here. You know, you wanna really get all those chunks. If you can see, there are like still little hazelnut chunks in there. You don't want them to stay there. If they do, it's fine. You'll just bite into them as your cookie, but better if you don't. All right, so now we've got our mixture looking good. We've still got a few little chunks in there. That's okay, we can do it one more time. Perfect. So now you basically have what I like to call kind of like Nutella, but without the liquids. So you've got the chocolates, you've got the hazelnuts, and now we're ready. Just gonna get a little spatula here. And first we're going to combine our flour, half a cup of flour, quarter cup of flour, and 2 tablespoons of sugar. You wanna make sure this is mixed up. And again, you'll see, I mean, this is really just 5 ingredients. It's so simple. So this is not a cookie where we're trying to get the fluffiest cookie or the moistest cookie. It's really just all about the flavors here, and that's kind of what makes it so simple. You're gonna wanna take out all of this mixture and get it out of your blender. And make sure you don't wanna leave no chocolate left behind here, guys. This is very important. All right. Excellent. So now we're just gonna stir up our sugar, our flour, our chocolate, and our hazelnuts. And then we're gonna get to the good stuff. And this is where I like to use my hands because I'm that kind of person, which, you know, make sure to wash your hands first. But we're gonna add in coconut oil. You can use canola oil if you don't have it, but I like coconut oil because I think it gives a great texture and flavor. Again, I like to use an unrefined coconut oil, so you're not gonna taste it too much. For those of you who are going like, ugh, I don't want any coconut flavor, like that's fine. And then we're gonna add 1 egg. This is also about 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. And then you can do this with a spoon, but I much prefer to just get in there with my hands because one of the things about this cookie is that it's pretty dense, so you don't want to over mix it too much and have it be even denser than you already started out with. The important thing here is just to get this all, you'll see it's kind of coming together like a dough, but a thick dough. And again, that's something that's also great about the coconut oil is it has that oil texture, but it's also a little bit thicker. If you're not familiar with using coconut oil, you're just gonna wanna buy, I like the unrefined. You can buy whatever you want, but then you do wanna make sure you melt it a little bit beforehand, because otherwise, coconut oil is sort of magical in that it's congealed when it's at room temperature and then it you know, melts when it's hot. So you want it to be not hot, but you wanna have, maybe put it in some, you know, hot water or something. All right, so now we've got our dough. You can see it's still a bit light, and that's what you want. You don't want it to be too rock solid because then you're just gonna have, you know, rock solid cookies. So we're gonna take a baking sheet that is lined with parchment paper, which again, you don't have to do. You can obviously grease a pan if you want, but I like parchment paper because it just makes your life easier, and anything that makes your life a little easier, I'm all for. And you're gonna roll these cookies into little balls. Again, you don't wanna go too hard on it because you don't want them to be too dense. But you're just gonna make them kind of like, I like to say, like into a golf ball size. But what's really nice about these cookies, again, because you're not trying to get like a big rise, you're not trying to have a big reaction, like these are gonna come out the size that you cook them. So you really don't have to worry about, you know, like, is it gonna be an exact size? Is it gonna work? So you just wanna kind of put them into a little ball. And again, the other thing to keep in mind is like these really don't spread. So whatever shape you're making them in now is going to be the shape that they come out as. So like, don't do this in a way where they just kind of look terrible, because that's what it's gonna come out as. So again, you wanna put them all together. And then you really wanna be able to like get those little stuck bits at the bottom. You know, you don't wanna, again, like if you've bought good chocolate, if you've spent the extra money on coconut oil, which is a little bit more expensive than a regular oil, you know, if you've taken the time to get hazelnuts, which again are also like one of my favorite nuts, but again, not like the cheapest item. Like this has 5 ingredients, but they're 5 really good ingredients. So you wanna make sure that you're using a higher quality version. And because of that, we don't wanna leave any little pieces behind. So there you have it. We have our cookies. We've preheated an oven to 350 degrees. And what's great about this is you just stick them in the oven for about 10 minutes, super easy, and then you're done. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna stick them in the oven, turn on our timer for just 10 minutes. And I'm doing this because I actually really wanna eat them later. We made some earlier, so by the magic of television, here you go. We have our chocolate hazelnut cookies. You can see how easy that was. It's literally like 5 minutes, put them together, stick them in the oven. You can have this whole thing done in 15 minutes, and then you have a perfect little cookie for all your Nutella cravings, but using real ingredients. Thanks so much for watching.